Chosen one. They thought humiliating you would destroy you. They gathered in the shadows, whispering, plotting, recording your pain like it was entertainment. They thought your silence meant defeat. Your calm meant weakness. They believed that one public moment of embarrassment would erase everything you've ever stood for. But what they didn't know is that heaven was watching the entire setup. This wasn't just a situation, it was a spiritual test. Every eye that mocked you was unknowingly playing a role in your divine movie. Every screenshot, every rumor, every fake smile, it all became part of heaven's script. And here's where it gets dark. They didn't just want to hurt your reputation. They wanted to stain your energy. They wanted you to lose control, to explode, to react in a way that would confirm their lies. But you didn't. You didn't give them that satisfaction. Instead, you stood still in the fire. And that stillness, that was your weapon. Because when a chosen one stays silent in the middle of chaos, the universe gets loud. And right now, the same people who laughed behind closed doors are starting to feel something strange. A guilt they can't shake off. A curiosity that feels like fear. You see, when divine timing moves, no gossip can outrun it. Your name, the same one they dragged, is now echoing differently. They're whispering again. But this time, it's not out of hate, it's out of confusion. How did they not break? How are they still glowing? How did they rise after that? Because chosen one, your downfall became your display. Your humiliation became heaven's announcement. The very situation meant to disgust the world became the moment that impressed it. They set the trap thinking it would expose your weakness, but instead it revealed your divine strength. Background intensity builds. Heartbeat slows to a pulse. You were never being punished. You were being positioned. Heaven used their mockery as free promotion. The same stage they built for your embarrassment became the altar of your rebirth. And every person who laughed at you will soon have to look up to you. So listen closely. By the end of this video, you'll understand why that disgusting moment was never meant to break you. It was the divine setup for your public redemption. Because right now, the tables are turning faster than they ever expected. Your silence has become your spotlight. Your peace has become their punishment. And your composure? It's the reason they can't stop watching you now. But here's the twist. The same people who mocked you are now impressed, and they don't even realize why. They think it's coincidence. They think it's your luck. But deep down, they're starting to feel it. The power of a chosen one who refused to get dirty in a disgusting game. They planned your public humiliation, but heaven turned it into your public proof. Chosen one. Do you remember that moment when the air around you felt fake? When smiles turned into smirks, and the people who once clapped for you started whispering behind your back? That wasn't random. That was the beginning of the humiliation ritual they planned. They didn't just attack your image, they attacked your essence. The gossip wasn't just words, it was spiritual warfare, disguised as conversation. They shared screenshots out of context. They twisted your kindness into weakness. They performed your pain like it was a show for their entertainment. And when you tried to defend yourself, they told you to calm down, as if the fire they started was your fault for burning. Behind closed doors, messages were flying. Fake evidence was built like a puzzle, designed to make you doubt your own reality. One person pretended to be your friend, but they were feeding your enemies your emotions in real time. Another person acted innocent, but they were secretly collecting your words to use as ammunition. This wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a setup. And you were chosen to play the role of the fool so that they could feel powerful in their illusion. But here's what they didn't calculate. Heaven was recording everything, even the parts they thought no one would see. Because when you're truly chosen, even betrayal becomes divine footage. They wanted to expose your flaws, but instead they exposed their character. They wanted to make you cry, but instead they revealed your strength. They wanted to destroy your peace, but instead they introduced you to purpose. There were nights when you questioned yourself. Why did they hate me for being loyal? Why did they laugh when I was only trying to love? Why did the same people I protected try to destroy me? Chosen one, that confusion was part of the ritual. to break your spirit before your rise. But heaven never allowed it to finish. Every false word spoken against you was being counted. Every secret conversation was being documented in the spiritual realm. They thought your silence was weakness. But here's the twist. It was your divine disguise. You weren't silent because you were scared. You were silent because you were strategic. You let the storm roar because deep down you knew. Storms clear fake people faster than truth ever could. And that's exactly what happened. One by one, the masks started to fall. The same people who laughed together suddenly started doubting each other. Karma doesn't ask for permission. It just shows up when the lesson is due. And now the whispers that once dragged your name through mud are now echoing in rooms filled with regret. They're rewatching the very scene they created and realizing you never needed revenge because your peace became the punishment. Your patience became the prophecy. And your silence, it became the sound of divine judgment unfolding. Now they can't stop talking about you again, but this time, it's different. The tone has changed. The same voice that once said, "You'll never rise again," is now asking, how did they survive that? Because chosen one, you didn't just survive, you upgraded. You walked through their trap like fire walking through paper, untouched. You proved that character speaks louder than gossip, and grace outlasts manipulation. So here's what I want you to do. Have you ever stayed silent while people tried to drag your name? If yes, drop this in the comments right now. I stayed silent and God fought for me. Because this is your reminder. The humiliation wasn't your ending. It was heaven's secret weapon to reveal who you truly are. Unbreakable, unstoppable, and divinely untouchable. Chosen one. Every storm has a silent moment when the air changes. At first, it's almost unnoticeable. A small pause in the chaos, a strange quiet in the noise. That's how the shift began. The same people who once laughed at your downfall started to feel something in the air. They couldn't name it, but their spirit could sense it. The energy had flipped. You didn't say a word. You didn't post a clapback. You didn't chase validation. You didn't explain yourself. You just moved differently. You prayed, you healed, and you focused on becoming who they said you'd never be. And that's when heaven's hidden camera started rolling. Because when you're a chosen one, God doesn't need you to defend yourself. He just starts showing people the footage of their own behavior through life's replay. Suddenly, the coincidences began. One by one, people started seeing the truth. A secret that was meant to stay buried slipped out in casual conversation. Someone who lied on your name accidentally revealed their own guilt. A friend of theirs couldn't hold the story anymore and said too much. And another, they started avoiding you, not because they won, but because they knew their energy couldn't face your light anymore. Things started happening that made no sense. Doors opening for you that were meant to stay locked. Your name appearing in opportunities that had nothing to do with your reputation. Random people complimenting your spirit out of nowhere. The same energy they tried to bury was resurrecting itself in public. And those who once mocked you, they started seeing what they couldn't unsee. You thriving without them. You shining in silence. You glowing without seeking attention. They're sitting there now, replaying old moments in their head like detectives in denial. Because deep down, they can't process how everything they said about you somehow bounced back to expose them instead. The ones who laughed first are now scared to speak. Every word they used against you carries weight now. They see your peace, your strength, your transformation, and it's haunting them more than any revenge ever could. They can't look you in the eyes anymore because your calmness embarrasses them. Your composure exposes their chaos. Your glow reminds them of their guilt. They thought karma would come with thunder and lightning, but heaven decided to do it differently. It didn't come as destruction. It came as divine discomfort. That uneasy silence in their heart when they see you happy. That's heaven's hidden camera replaying every scene they thought they got away with. Now people are starting to whisper again, but the tone has changed. The same lips that once said, "They're done," are now saying, "They didn't deserve that." The same crowd that once pointed fingers is now asking, "What if we were wrong?" And here's where it gets even more powerful. You didn't need to prove your innocence. You just needed to keep moving forward, because progress is the loudest evidence of truth. But here's the twist. Heaven didn't expose them through punishment. It exposed them through your peace. Your calmness became their confusion. Your silence became their sentence. And your glow, it became the mirror that forced them to face their reflection. Because peace has a strange way of embarrassing darkness. When you stop fighting and start evolving, the universe itself becomes your witness. They used to say, "You'll never recover." Now they whisper, "How did they do it?" They used to call you a failure. Now they copy your energy, your ideas, your way of living. Chosen one, that's not coincidence. That's divine irony. The same crowd that once called you too much is now trying to imitate your boundaries, your strength, your grace. They're not mocking anymore. They're watching. They're studying how peace could destroy an entire rumor cycle. And you don't even have to clap back. You've become the proof. You've become the walking evidence that God's justice doesn't need noise. It just needs time. So right now, take a deep breath, because this is the moment heaven starts replaying your story to the world. The same voices that gossiped will soon say, "We always knew they were different." They'll rewrite history to sound like they supported you all along. But you'll know the truth. They didn't believe in you until your peace embarrassed their lies. Comment below, "Peace embarrassed my enemies." Say it like a declaration. Because your peace didn't just protect you, it promoted you. This is what happens when heaven's hidden camera starts rolling. Truth doesn't scream, it simply shines. And right now, chosen one, you are the light they can no longer dim. Chosen one, the most powerful clapback you ever gave was your silence. You didn't shout, you didn't explain, you didn't try to convince people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You just kept moving, with calm, class, and divine focus. They expected drama, they expected breakdowns, emotional outbursts, long explanations, but you gave them none of it. You just smiled, prayed, and walked into your next season like nothing happened. And that silence became your loudest statement. See, your silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Because when you're divinely protected, you don't fight fire with fire. You let your elevation be the evidence. You didn't clap back, you rose higher. You didn't explain, you evolved. And the world watched in confusion as the same person they tried to bury started blooming again. Stronger, brighter, more radiant than ever before. They thought they took something from you, but you were just recharging. They thought they won the battle, but you were preparing for the war they didn't even know was coming. The war between your old self and your higher self. You stopped arguing. You started aligning. You stopped chasing validation. You started chasing peace. And that shift, that's what they couldn't handle. Because people who feed on chaos can't survive in peace. Your calmness became a mirror, a reflection that forced them to see the ugliness of their own actions. You didn't have to curse them. Their conscience did that for you. You didn't have to expose them. Your evolution did. And soon something strange started to happen. The people who swore they'd never speak your name again began watching your every move. The same ones who tried to block your light are now trying to stand close enough to borrow it. They're studying you quietly, wondering how someone they canceled became so unstoppable. They can't post about you, but they can't stop checking your page. They can't praise you publicly, but they brag about you privately. They can't admit it out loud, but they're impressed, deeply impressed, by how you handled it. You didn't beg for apologies. You didn't chase closure. You let God write the final chapter. And that's the kind of revenge no human can match. Every move you made in silence became a sermon. Every time you refused to stoop down to their level, heaven raised you one more step higher. And now they're realizing they didn't humiliate you, they highlighted you. Your composure became your crown. Your patience became your power. And your peace, it became the spotlight that exposed their chaos. They thought you'd fade away quietly, but instead your glow became louder than their gossip. They wanted the crowd to hate you, but now that same crowd can't stop admiring your strength. They wanted to bury you under rumors, but instead, you bloomed from the soil of their lies. Because, chosen one, revenge doesn't always come wrapped in destruction. Sometimes it comes disguised as growth, and nothing terrifies your enemies more than seeing you win without bitterness. But here's the twist. Your growth became their exposure. The more you evolved, the more their actions looked childish. The higher you rose, the smaller their lies appeared. And now they're realizing the truth. You didn't need to defend yourself because heaven already did. The same people who mocked your peace are now craving it. The same ones who tried to hurt you are now learning from your example. And deep down, they know they lost the moment you stopped reacting. That's the beauty of divine revenge. You don't destroy them, you let grace do it gently. You let life make them face their own reflection, while you walk forward, blessed, healed, and untouchable. So I want you to answer this right now in the comments. Have you ever realized silence was your revenge? Drop a I if yes. Because sometimes, chosen one, your silence isn't empty. It's echoing in the hearts of those who wronged you. And that echo, that's the sound of justice. Soft, subtle, and unstoppable. Chosen one, remember how they mocked you? How they whispered behind your back, laughed at your silence, and called your downfall entertainment? Now, watch closely. The same audience is clapping. The same crowd that doubted you is now quoting your words. And the same people who called you crazy, delusional, or finished are now watching your every move like students in front of a master. This is the public reversal, the karmic shift that flips the narrative in broad daylight. It's the moment when heaven says, "Now let them see what I saw in you all along." You didn't fight for your name, heaven did. You didn't beg for the stage. Your glow created it. Every person who once looked down on you is now forced to look up. The same mouths that mocked you now quote you. The same eyes that rolled are now watching in awe. The same hearts that hated your peace are now secretly praying for the same kind of peace. And it's not revenge, it's revelation. It's divine timing proving that silence is not surrender. It's strategy. That grace is not weakness. It's warfare. Now imagine this. You walk into a room that once held your enemies, and suddenly it's quiet. No gossip, no smirks, no whispers, because now you're the conversation. They used to call you too much. Now they call you inspiring. They used to compete with you. Now they copy you. They used to reject your energy. Now they study it. Your pain became your promotion. Your rejection became redirection. And your glow, it became undeniable. They scroll through your success pretending not to care, but their silence screams jealousy. They repeat your quotes online without giving credit. They dress like you, talk like you, even try to think like you. Why? Because divine favor cannot be ignored. And deep down they know the same soil they buried you in was holy ground. You were never dying, you were germinating. They mistook the waiting season for weakness, but heaven was simply working in private, building your public victory. Now the crowd that once laughed is witnessing your rise in real time. They're watching the joke become the journey. They're watching the outcast become the inspiration. They're watching the problem become the prophecy. But here's the twist. It's not admiration. It's recognition of divine authority. They don't just like you. They feel you, because your energy carries the weight of everything you survived. They're not impressed with your success. They're convicted by your strength. They don't respect you because you won. They respect you because you never gave up when they expected you to break. That's the real miracle. You didn't just bounce back, you transformed publicly. Your presence has become proof that God never forgets his chosen ones. Now, when they say your name, they do it carefully. When they mention your past, they pause, because they know you turned that pain into purpose. Your glow isn't ordinary anymore. It carries the story of everything that tried to kill you. And that's why they can't deny it. No matter how hard they try to act unaffected, their spirit recognizes your divine elevation. It's spiritual gravity. You're rising, and they can't stop watching. So let this be your reminder. You never needed revenge. You just needed time. Because time is the great revealer. It reveals who was real, who was fake, and who was secretly praying for your failure. And now the truth is clear. You were never the villain. You were the vessel. The spotlight that once mocked you is now lighting your crown. The world that doubted you is now taking notes from your resilience. And heaven? Heaven is smiling, because this was the plan all along. So type this right now in the comments: they can't deny my glow. Because your glow isn't vanity, it's victory. It's divine proof that grace ages beautifully. That light born from pain shines differently. That the one who was once laughed at is now leading the way. Chosen one, heaven never left you. It didn't ignore your tears. It didn't overlook the pain. It was collecting receipts. Every insult, every betrayal, every disgusting situation that was meant to destroy you. Heaven wrote it down as evidence. And when the time was right, that evidence turned into elevation. Every attack became a stepping stone. Every betrayal became a redirection. Every humiliation became a hidden prophecy waiting to unfold. See, they thought they were shaming you, but they were promoting you. They thought they were ending your story, but they were setting up your introduction. Because what they didn't realize is this: you can't humiliate what heaven has anointed. You can't cancel what God has crowned. Chosen one, there's a reason it had to happen that way. If they hadn't turned on you, you'd still be trying to prove yourself to people who were secretly rooting against you. If they hadn't disrespected you, you wouldn't have found the strength that now defines you. And if they hadn't plotted your downfall, they never would have witnessed your divine response, your resurrection. You didn't get even. You got elevated. You didn't fight back. You flourished. You didn't lose your faith. You found your fire. And now the same mouths that cursed you are forced to confess your calling. Because God doesn't humiliate his chosen ones. He humbles their enemies through them. That's the prophecy of divine reversal. It doesn't come when you're shouting, "Look at me." It comes when you whisper, "I forgive you," and still keep walking forward. They saw your pain, but they never saw your prayers. They saw your struggle, but they never saw your strength in silence. They saw your breakdown, but they never saw heaven rebuilding you behind the scenes. They thought the delay meant denial, but God was just creating a stage so that when your moment arrived, everyone who betrayed you would have front row seats. Here's the divine twist. They didn't just witness your pain, they accidentally premiered your purpose. They were your free marketing team, and they didn't even know it. They spread your name out of hate, but heaven used their gossip as divine advertising. Every post against you became promotion. Every insult became an introduction. Every loss became a lesson that positioned you for legacy. And now look where you are, still standing, still glowing, still unbothered. You didn't just survive, you transformed. Your pain evolved into purpose. Your humiliation turned into holy recognition. And your story, it's no longer about revenge, it's revelation. Because your story isn't just yours anymore. It's someone's lifeline. It's someone's proof that faith works. It's someone's confirmation that peace wins over chaos. There's a person watching you right now who doesn't even know they're watching their future self in motion. You were chosen to be the proof, the evidence that no betrayal can bury destiny, the living testimony that silence is never weakness. It's strategy from heaven, and that's why the universe is about to respond to your patience. The same energy that once tried to crush you is now required to bless you. The same voices that gossiped are now being used to echo your victory, and the same pain that made you cry will now make you celebrate. Chosen one, your name is being cleared in rooms you haven't even entered yet. Your image is being restored in hearts that once misunderstood you. The truth is surfacing, the timing is aligning, and the prophecy is unfolding. Right now, as you listen, this is heaven's way of saying, you passed the test. Now comes the reward you didn't need to fight. Your endurance fought for you. You didn't need to explain. Your elevation explained everything. And now your peace is the loudest message they'll ever hear. So when people say, you've changed, smile and say, no, I finally became who I was meant to be. Because this version of you, the healed, glowing, grounded version, is the one God was waiting to introduce to the world. Now the stage is yours, not for revenge, but for revelation. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove that faith was right. Promise, your story isn't revenge, It's revelation. It's the unveiling of divine justice disguised as grace. And the people who once doubted your glow, they'll soon have no choice but to honor it. Comment, they're impressed, but God planned it. Because this was never coincidence, it was coordination from heaven. Like this video, share it with another chosen one who's been through the fire and came out shining, and subscribe. Because the next prophecy reveals the 3 days after admiration, when the universe crowns you